Huddle Up Podcast is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app, that's arenaeats.app, for the ultimate fan experience. At your favorite sports venue, Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order? We're going to move on here, and we're going to stick in the NFL. We're going to start with our NFL pick'ems first, and then we'll go back to the college world, and we will start like I pick 4 games as we always do, and we are going to start, Sean, in Chicago on Thursday night. The 3-1 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and man, you know, it really kind of cracks me up, like just how quick, like, writers and people on social media and everything like that are ready to have those Tom Brady's done. Tom Brady's he's dead, he's done, it's over. They're so ready to write those career eulogies for Tom Brady. Like, he throws a pick six, everybody jumps in on it, and then Tom Brady reminds us with 5 touchdowns later that he's not dead yet.
Oh yeah, and Tom with that pick, it was, it didn't look good. Things were grim, and who else but the Chargers could take a situation they had right before halftime and hand Tom the opportunity to get just one, and from there it just snowballed into and it was a pretty beat up supporting cast. I mean, lost O.J. Howard in that game. You were already down Chris Godwin. They had a lot of guys that wound up pretty dinged up on that offensive side of the ball, and Gronk was asked to be on the field a lot. Didn't even use him a lot. Only a couple of targets. So you're starting to see him kind of make men out of some boys like he used to up in New England. So it's people down here are pretty excited.
I would say so, but they travel. They're a 5.5-point road favorite at the 3-1 Chicago Bears. Over and under on this one, 44. This game Thursday night, 8:20 on Fox and the NFL Network. Are the Bears going to go back to Mitch Trubisky, or because Nick Foles not very good in that starting role? Like, just
man. Oh, look at this comment.
Tom Brady is a system quarterback, and it shows. He is the most pick six of the first 4. Yeah. Tyler,
you can throw a pick every game if you're going to throw 5 touchdowns. I don't care who's at the helm. I don't care if it's Trubisky or whatever, but
yeah. Well, and again, people, also forgetting new system, new receivers, new playbook, no preseason, no scrimmages, not a normal camp. Mike Evans dinged up to start the year. Godwin has only played 2 quarters in 4 weeks. O.J. Howard goes out with an Achilles injury now. Offensive line completely different. It's not. I'm not even necessarily saying it's a bad offensive line. It is just completely different than the offensive line that he's used to in New England. Everything is different, and you're thrown into the Wolves. They're 3-1 in what is a hard division.
Yeah, and it's a scenario where it's not just a matter of obviously new system. It's a new difficult system. This is a system that Carson Palmer, who wound up thriving in it for many years, his first year or two were huge adjustment years going into this. Obviously, saw Jameis Winston never stopped adjusting, and just continued to make those errors. And if they don't bail on Jameis, maybe that time spent the decision making obviously was a little too extreme to avoid. But it's not an easy system to pick up, especially with the longevity he had in his previous one. And like you said, getting used to the guys in front of you. And just things like defensive pacing, like getting used to, defenses tend to spend on average the same amount of time on the field, just timing and stuff. But yeah, that offseason, everything plays into it. And I mean, I haven't looked at his numbers in years past as far as touchdowns in the first 4 weeks. But I'd imagine this is up there as far as number of touchdowns in the first 4 weeks, especially. Bill liked to come out a little conservative early in the year, and with the exception of that Randy Moss year, it hasn't been a team that always puts up a lot of points. But they just find themselves on the right side of the scoreboard when the game's over. And for Tom to be out here, making this team look as good as it has in a really long time, you want to give him a pick every game. Hopefully he corrects that. If you're the coach, you don't want it to eventually be in a scenario where it puts you on the other side of the scoreboard. But I don't think.
Well, here's the thing, and it might there may be a game or two this year that he does throw a pick that costs them the game. But the bottom line is, as long as you don't do that when the season's on the line, you're probably going to be okay. The best quarterbacks in the world, have a bad game and will cost their team a game. The best pitchers in the world will get racked up for 10 runs in 3 innings. It is going to happen. Even the best players, have off nights. But I mean, for him, he's currently at 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I don't care how many pick sixes he throws. 11-4 is a great ratio.
Well, let's be honest. At four interceptions, you're on pace for 16. If Jameis Winston had only thrown 16 and had the same number of touchdowns he had last year, Tom wouldn't be in Tampa Bay.
Exactly. That's a 3 to. It's
not like Tom's fumbling it like Jameis was. He's not handing the ball over, and not all 4 of those are his fault. So, at 16, is that a little high? Yeah. Do I think he's going to throw 16? I don't know. If I had to put money on, I say no. I say I don't think he hits 16. But even if he throws 18 interceptions, if he throws 45 touchdowns and they win the division or finish second, I don't think you have anything to worry about.
Yeah, his ratio, if it plays out again, we're through 4 weeks, is going to be 48 touchdowns to 16 interceptions. I think Tampa Bay will be just fine.
I think they'll take those numbers.
Yeah, if Tom Brady throws 48 touchdowns this year, I'm going to venture a guess that Tampa Bay is going to be in pretty good shape.
I would think so.
They're probably going to
pick some games.
All right, let's pick some games. And so I'm going to go with those Tampa Bay Buccaneers plus the 5.5. 44. I feel like that 44 number is pretty solid. Because I don't think the Bears can score a lot. Can they get?
At this point, they'd like to score it all.
Well, they would. Can they disrupt the Tampa offense? I'm gonna go over. I've been sitting here praising Tom Brady for the last 10 minutes. So I'm gonna go Tampa Bay plus and the over in this one.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I thought that Bears offense was going to look a lot better under Nick. I mean, being a Philadelphia sports fan over the history of his career, I have seen the differences between Nick Foles in a starting role and in a relief role. Luckily for a stretch of 4 games there, the starting role worked out for us. But he has had his issues in the past in a starting role. I'm hoping but he's also a smart guy, and I think he's a different quarterback than he was when he used to have those struggles. I think you're going to see a better Bears product on the field. You're going to have – I mean, they had some adjustments without Tariq Cohen and some other guys on the Bears offense as well. I think Nick calms down. Unfortunately, it's not against a great defense to try and calm down. I think Tampa Bay's defense is going to give him fits. And I think Chicago's defense is going to know that they're going to rise up. So I think there is a chance you see Tom throw a pick number 5. And Tyler, don't panic. It's still not the end of the world. But I think there's a good chance you see one, and maybe it is for 6 points. I think it's going to be close. What did we say the spread was?
5.5.
5.5. I'm going to take Bucks to win, Bears to cover. I think it's going to be a close game. And I think it's going to be right in that 20-ish point range. I think a pick 6 or some sort of special teams play from Cordarrelle Patterson, something like that. You get teams that come out of an offensive game like that, they try to make that up. I take the Bears to cover, but I'm going to go the over with you.
Yeah, and actually, you know what, Sean? I think I forgot to do these last week, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just go ahead and give this one Tampa Bay plus and the over.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up.
Lock it up.
Lock it up. Lock it up.
Lock it up.
Lock on both.
Lock on both. Tampa to win big here. All right, let's move to Sunday, 1 o'clock on CBS. The 4-0 Bills are a 1-point road favorite at the returning from COVID, fingers crossed, 3-0 Tennessee Titans. 49 is the over-under on this game. Man, this Bills team, they might actually be good. Sean. Josh Allen looks like, the crowned guy that they were hoping he would be. And they're out and they're cruising and they're having some fun, and they're not even at full strength. Like, they have injuries too. So, for Tennessee, they've had a lot of time off. If they can get back to work, they're going to be back in the facilities tomorrow. So that leaves Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That leaves 4 days of work for the first time in over a week. The Bills, I like the Bills here. They're going to cover that 1 point. But I'm actually going to go with the under 49. I think both defenses are really good. I think Tennessee might stumble a bit out of the gate because they've had this extended week off with a lot of confusion and stuff like that. So I like Buffalo to win and the under.
Yeah, I think this is a tough one to pick. I think that week off really makes this an interesting one. Probably a lot to do with that 1 point swing. Fortunately for Tennessee, it doesn't seem like anybody in any prime positions really affected by the virus. But you're right. I think Buffalo looks real good. I think surprisingly, everybody's been ready for that Buffalo defense and the pass rush and the turnovers and to be honest, defensively, that's not what's winning them games. I mean, you got a kind of rejuvenated Josh Allen. The addition of Stephon Diggs on the outside seems to have really opened that offense up. I think they're still trying to find what's going on in their running game, and they need to do it. I think right now they're still at a point where when push comes to shove, I think they're trying to ask Josh Allen to still be that running back, and Cam Newton will tell you that takes its toll. So I think I'd like to see him pick a guy, give him 3-down work. If it's going to be the Rook, great. If it's going to be Singletary, awesome. But give a guy some confidence. Let him carry the rock more downs than not. But because of those kind of not seeing the defense arrive that much, and I have a lot of faith in Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry, I think they're going to push over. So I'm going to take the other side of that. Why not? I'm going to go with Tennessee. I'm going to go Tennessee off a long layover. They're just itching to play football. I think they're going to be excited. Now, for my pick to hit, they're going to have to come out and score early. But you're going to see a little bit of a shootout. I think it's going to be Tannehill, kind of finishing off some of those doubters, and you're going to see Josh Allen. I think you're going to see the lead change hands a couple of times, but I'm going to take Tennessee and the over.
Huddle Up Podcast is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app, that's arenaeats.app, for the ultimate fan experience. At your favorite sports venue, Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order? All right, Sean, we got a little breaking news coming in here.
Breaking.
The Seattle Storm are your 2020 WNBA champions. They finished off a 4-game sweep over the Las Vegas Aces. So congratulations to the Seattle Storm. Like I said, your 2020 WNBA champs. There you go. How about that? Breaking some news over here.
Vegas coming.
Yeah. All right. Let's. Speaking of Las Vegas, let's go with the Las Vegas Raiders. They are 2-2. They travel to Kansas City. The 4-0 Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, that game was kind of a stinker last night. Not very exciting, but they got the job done. A little closer than I thought. The Chiefs are a 10.5 point home favorite. Over and under on this one, 57. This one at 1 o'clock on CBS. I like the Raiders. I think that they've been playing a little better than some people have expected to here with Is this a second or third year with Gruden? I can't keep track of the number of years.
Is it 2?
Let's say second, unless we get corrected. We'll say second
Maybe
year.
somebody will put it out there, but I think it's the second year. But I lose track.
Yeah. But they've looked pretty good. Obviously at 2-2, you want to see that record lean a little bit further into the win column. But I think the Chiefs are just too good, and they didn't have a great game last night. Schedule got a little disrupted, but they were home this week. They're home next week. Shouldn't be too much of a problem for them. I think the Raiders can cover that 10.5 number, keep it close, rivalry game. But I like the Chiefs to win. And I'm going to go 57? I'll stay under. If it goes over, I think the Chiefs win, and they best that 10.5 margin. So I think the Raiders will keep it close and we'll keep it under.
Yeah, I think last week you saw a Chiefs team face what for the first time in a long time is an underrated Patriots defense. People had question marks on the offensive side of the ball, and I think with the transition to Cam and now a replacement scenario, I think you saw a lot of focus on that offensive side of the ball. But let's not forget, there's a lot of players in that defense that opted out, and this New England Patriots defense has been forcing turnovers, a lot of 3-and-outs. They're not giving up a lot of points. So for the Chiefs to come out there and still slowly but surely make a pretty decent spread out of that, and it still kind of became a statement game, I think, for them. Let's not forget who's on top of the AFC and move on with our day. Now, because of some of that sputtering and I think the game plan, with it being Pat Mahomes and being Andy Reid and just kind of having watched the way he plays, I think he's going to want to get that offense in gear. And the Raiders just might be that scenario. It's a chance to play at home. That's a whole different ball game for the Raiders. I think if it was in Las Vegas, I might kind of be with you. I think the Chiefs are going to win this one extremely handedly. I think it's going to be flashy. I think you're going to see a lot of speed. And I think the Raiders on offense are just too banged up to keep up. They are going to put points on the board. I could see that happening. So I'm going to take the Chiefs. I'm going to take the over, and you can put a lock on it. That's lock that one up.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Lock.
And you can lock it up.
You can lock it up. All right. And our final game for this week, the 3-1 Indianapolis Colts are a 3-point road favorite at the 3-1 Cleveland Browns, who I think actually just scored another touchdown against the Cowboys.
Yeah, I heard Dallas gave up another one. That's the other breaking news.
Yeah,
that's breaking news. Dallas just gave up.
Yeah, just gave up another touchdown to the Browns. Good God, that was bad. 47.5 over under on this one. This one at 425 on CBS. If you haven't picked up a pattern over the last couple weeks, CBS, aka the AFC, that's where the better football is being played right now, folks.
Sure is.
Because at least the more competitive. I mean, obviously there's some good teams in the NFC, but there's also some really bad teams in the NFC. You know what? I like the Browns a lot in this one. I think the Colts being favored is a little bit of a slap in the face. I think the Browns are a really good football team. Great pass rush. Secondary's not too shabby either. Yeah, they got torched by Dak.
They just give up 500 yards.
But I mean, the Cowboys passing offense is the best in football right now, statistically speaking. I mean, it also helps their numbers that they're playing from behind or in a shootout every week. So they don't have the option to feed Zeke the football like they probably want to do, like they did week 1. So, but yeah, great pass rush. I think Baker Mayfield and that offense is clicking. Whatever issues he had with Odell Beckham last year seem to have been resolved. So I like the Browns here plus, and I'm going to go the over 47.5. I mean, again, I think the Colts defense probably better than the Cowboys. There's not any defenses worse than the Cowboys. But the Browns are going to move the ball. They're going to score points. The Colts are going to have to try to keep up. So I like the Browns here to win outright and obviously cover and over the 47.5.
Okay. Well, duly noted. I'm going to come out here and just absolutely disagree with everything you just said. Because you're right. I do like the Cleveland Browns. I like them especially for what they did to Dallas last week.
Wrong.
Yeah. I especially like the Browns for what they did to the Cowboys last week. But
Naturally.
But let's not forget that they were playing Dallas. And I mean that in the most sincere, how do they keep embarrassing themselves way
The
possible.
most literal sense possible.
I mean, there's sometimes when I watch Dallas' defense on the field that I feel like they could just line up 6 defensive front and like no one else, and the same thing would happen. It would just give you more time to come back then because no one would try to tackle.
36.5 points they give up per game, points per game.
It's unbelievable.
That's with the Rams only scoring 20 on them week 1.
Yeah, I was going to say that Rams wasn't that high scoring. So
No, it was a 2017.
Having said that, you have a Cleveland team that's coming off a big high, and you should. You went into Dallas and you beat a team people didn't think you were going to stack up well against, and all you had to do was keep up, and they did that. Baker's played incredibly well, but it's still Baker Mayfield. I'm still not a true believer, and I think this is the week he may get exposed. I think Indianapolis's defense is one of the best in the league. I think the fact that Phillip Rivers hasn't had to be Phillip Rivers yet is the reason why they're winning games. They're not asking Phillip Rivers to go out there and sling balls and win games. They're asking him to just be smart, play it safe. There's a reason T.Y. Hilton stretching the field hasn't happened yet. They haven't had to. And I think that defensive front for Cleveland is good. I'm not super sold on their secondary. You're looking at a Cleveland team that is 3-1. However, it's a Cleveland team whose 3 wins came against the Bengals, the Redskins, and Dallas's defense.
The Washington.
I always say Redskins, probably because they're still just the Redskins to me.
Yeah, but it's going to take time. The football team.
The football team. Either way, your only real test, in my opinion, as far as a defense was against Baltimore, and you only put up 6. You've also lost Nick Chubb. Obviously, fellas in relief did pretty well. You do have Kareem Hunt, which is nice. But with Kareem Hunt in the field, you're going to be, in my opinion, you're going to be asking Baker Mayfield to use more passing formations, and I think that's a mistake against Indianapolis. I think defenses do come to play. I don't think Indianapolis is forced to score a lot of points to beat them, but I think you're going to see the flash and the speed slowed down quite a bit. I'm going to take Indianapolis, and I'm going to take the under because I think both defenses are going to keep things, and both offenses. I think they're going to play it fairly safe, and it's going to be kind of a low-end shootout, kind of a who's the last team with the ball kind of game, and
That's
I think
fair.
it's going to be it.
Huddle Up Podcast is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app, that's arenaeats.app, for the ultimate fan experience. At your favorite sports venue, Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order?